and get back on the right idea of momentum here.
We've talked about the snowball all year. Obviously, Thursday night, you had the lead at half at Siena. Got evaporates, and then tonight you mentioned the snowball again.
Yeah.
It's mid-February. It's going to be mid-February next week.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can stop the snowball?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but it's really just one-on-one defense at this point. That's where I'm at on it, and I think we've been really flipped it a little where the offense is doing pretty well, and I think we got to understand value on the defensive end. I think before this weekend, I think we were top 100 in raw D rating. We're not top 100 anymore.
Dan, what about this now team has changed since you played them down there after Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I think Donnie, even Amadi's out, 11's out, so they're playing a little more shooting pretty consistently. And yeah, five, the ball is, he looks great. He looks like he's fitting in perfectly in that role, and and K-Bay shows off his versatility, man. That guy can make a gym electric and make a gym silent when he's in. Even to start the game, I just thought our urgency, he gets a wide open, gets an uncontested three to start the game off the jump ball. And we look surprised. And, I think that goes into that might have been the first snowflake. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's big for me, is like understanding and having our antennas up for how dialed it takes to be in February, and how dialed you have to be to understand all this. And what we're doing mindfully is a hard task with switching the pace, but offensively we're doing it. That's what's bothersome, is offensively we're doing it. So defensively we got to take a step here, and I think this week's practice will be very telling on what it looks like and how we can do it.
What went into the struggle tonight to shoot at an efficient rate, especially from the free throw line?
Yeah, free throws. We missed 2 front end one-on-ones in that first half. I just felt again, I don't want to say, a little bit of urgency piece of understanding and valuing it over and over again. Even some of our looks in transition weren't as clean as they have been, and I think it's it's a ever-changing game, ever-evolving game, and more guys played more minutes tonight. I thought our dispersion was correct in our minutes, and alley-oop and foul trouble hurt us a good amount. But having a team like that and a team that's attacking the paint like that, and they don't really settle, they make you rim or three for the most part. So, I thought that kind of showed up. And I mean, for me, the 3-pointers, that's part of how we're going to build this program, is that you got to be tough enough to make those open looks when the value is right there for you, and when we weren't tonight.
Talk about value. Only commit 4 turnovers, though. The ball handling, ball security. How satisfied are you with that?
Extremely. Probably makes us a little more annoying that we're in this result, honestly.
Coach, you were -8 defensive backs tonight. What were they doing physically to your guys to beat you to those balls?
It's like we're like chipping on some of the box outs, and then we're not. It's like the second layer, we call it the umbrella. Like we're not being mindful at the umbrella around the rim, around the charge circle. We do a secondary circle and stuff. I just think we're assuming too much, and I think that's what shows up. And I, in a sense, like Keys has 4 offensive rebounds. The guards got to participate, and I would say in this league that's a big deal as we continue to go through it. And again, they're a little bit over, 1 point per offensive rebound, but they got fouled a lot.
Right.
That's where some of the data lies in the box score. It doesn't tell the whole story. So I think it's like that secondary look, and we got to keep looking at it, and we see it every day. It's like you got to choose to be because this is where it goes in February and March. You're in these dogfights, and that stuff's going to show up. And even end of Siena first half, that's like. That makes you lay awake at night, and that should make you not eat, but make you sick to your stomach about what it looks like.
You mentioned kind of it flipping from the defense to the offense. What do you think is the reason you guys can't put together stretches where you're playing well on both sides of the ball at this point in time?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's really understanding how the ebbs and flows go together. I think we've done a good job offensively to help our transition defense really well. Well, now we got to take the next step and understand like that domino effect of the middle 10 seconds and the last 10 seconds of the shot clock is where we want teams to play. But we gotta feel that that energy, that effort at that point of the clock. That needs to raise our emotions. And right now, I don't feel like it's raising our emotions that much, which is kind, to me that's a red flag for where we're going.
So you call it an effort problem?
I think so. Well, and like it's the mindful part of it. When that clock hits 15, we got to be like, oh yeah, this is great for us. Instead, I think we're trying to be a little too high IQ on the defensive end. At some points, it's not that. It's not a math problem here.
What is trying to be too high IQ mean?
Trying to like understand personnel, understand where the X outs are going to be, understanding reading the ball a little bit too much. Like tonight, our core was engaged too much.
So you should like get up and guard at that point.
Essentially, you know what I mean. And then our core, like our help, was engaged too early tonight, and that gave them a lot of looks on the weak side. Well, now we're having discussions about like who personnel, and it's like no. You're doing the you're getting the answer to the math problem. You're not showing your work. We got to show our work more often than not, and then that's how we get to our answer.
Struggling to protect the defensive glass has been an issue for a while.
Yeah.
So you get a stop, and all of a sudden then there's a put back, and so the effort on making that initial stop is gone. It's happening over and over again. It's probably very discouraging. It carries over on the offensive end, probably a good amount. Do you think it's starting to wear on these guys a bit?
I mean, I think mentally it definitely is. But again, it's where like you got to choose to be tough enough to make the open looks. You really do. I think, especially when Aliu's in foul trouble, you know what the scout is. You know where it's going, and to me, that's where you gotta. I think we had a 120 offensive rating tonight, but you might have to be at a 125. You just 4 turnovers is a great clip for us. And I think we're taking care of that. Was a big, but not issue, a big marker for us tonight to take care of that basketball to win the possession game. And then then it goes into the free throws. Like you gotta make both of the one-on-ones. You gotta make that game 39. If it is gonna be 39 points, you gotta have 38 at halftime. You gotta make the free throws. But again, that's where it starts that trickle effect, and then you get the feeling that you got tonight, and we don't want to have that feeling much more.
What happened at halftime that the guys were out on the floor so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just went a little early. I think our second halves, I just want them to. I was probably waiting a little bit too long to get in there in the locker room, so I'm going a little bit sooner. And to me, there wasn't a lot to say besides some candid, transparent remarks about where this game was possibly going, and how we needed to affect it in a different way. And I thought we did a good job of that for a little while. I really do. And then I think we made some decisions and some plays that, again, you're going to be in these 2 possession games for probably the rest of the year. Obviously, if you're not, that means you're playing really well and you're doing a great thing. But for the most part, that's where we got to really understand it and go through it. And now it's like every night's like this. Siena was like this. You know what I mean? Fairfield's like this. It's really great for our guys. But we need to really ramp up the results, I would say, quicker.
Given your playing background, how do you instill that physicality into your players?
Yeah, I mean it's doing your work early. It's if that's how we're going to be smart, that's how. If we're going to be high IQ, that's how I think it should go on the defensive end. We got to do our work early. We got to, on all their, they do a great job of running like second and third side actions and a lot of different catch and shoot plays. And for me, it's like we just were like, oh, okay, well they're going to come out this way, so we'll just be there before them. Well, they make a read, and you're not being physical, and you're not doing your work early. Doing your work early means you're on the body, you understand where they're coming out. Then if you're going to shoot the gap or trail, you can make the correct read at that time. And that's kind of what I thought, my playing background, that's what we got very high level at, is doing our work early, understanding where it was going, and then understanding what it looked like. So we got to keep looking at it and feeling that. And I think I'm very hard, as you guys know, it's very hard to be a center here. Because obviously that was one of my positions that I played, and on the defensive end, like that's where you got to be like the middle linebacker, and I think that's something we were a step behind too often.
You talk about defensively, like the high IQ, and if I'm understanding correctly, maybe a little bit of, maybe trying too hard a little bit or overthinking a bit is maybe part of the problem. Is kind of maybe part of the solution to that, kind of just the guys remembering what their defensive capabilities are and kind of just keeping it a little more simple.
Yeah, I agree, and then that's where like the individual defense just has to take a step up. And again, I think that's part of it though. You're trying to like, oh, they're doing this and this and this, and like, oh yeah, we can do this, and it's like, oh god, the guy got the ball at 8 feet instead of 11 feet. That's where I'm kind of at. That's where you do your work early, get more deflections when the ball goes into the post. That's I think tonight I'll ask as we go through hustle stats, we'll see what the deflections were, but I wouldn't think they were very high tonight. And it's not something we like, put a flag on that hill about our deflection, but when our deflections are high, we're in pretty good shape. So I think that's something we gotta look at and understand. And it's not going to get. I don't think it's going to get more complicated. I don't think so.
Dan, do you think the multiple fouls in the second half had a significant impact on tonight's final outcome?
Yeah, I mean it breaks rhythm a little bit. Yeah, it breaks rhythm a little bit, and everyone's got a job to do.
All good.
Thanks, guys.